G'day and welcome back to Derriere Farms, where we continue our coverage of silver run forest by taking a look at Yardas and Winches and how they function in the game. If you're new to the channel, or you're new to Farming Simulator, or new to forestry, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any information as it gets released, as we have barely scratched the surface of what's new in silver run forest. If you find the video helpful, you will also earn my eternal gratitude by giving it a thumbs up. Okay, so let's start off with a basic question. What's the difference between a yarder and a winch? Well, essentially they're both designed to do the same thing, which is pull trees and or large logs out of hard to get to places that your loader or other vehicle is going to have a hard time getting to. The main difference between a yarder and a winch is that the yarder is able to lift a tree and pull it up the hill. By lifting the tree, it actually allows it to be dragged up and over obstacles, whereas with a winch, it stays flat on the ground, and if it gets caught up on something, well, then you're in trouble. If you've watched the show Big Timber, you will see that they have a very large yarder that pulls some pretty big trees up over some pretty impossible terrain that a winch would not be able to get the tree up and over. Alright, so where do we find these pieces of equipment and how do they differ? They're found in the store under forestry equipment. There are two different winches. The first winch will pull 6.6 tons and requires 60 horsepower. Now, again, depending on the terrain, you might want a tractor with a little bit more than 60 horsepower. The second one will pull 8.6 tons of tree or logs up along the ground. Again, this one requires 80 horsepower. You might want a little bit more. I'm using 180 horsepower tractor just for the demonstration. Well, I'm using the Volvo. I think it's 140 or 180 horsepower. But we'll see. It probably won't have too much problem on flat ground. Next, yarders. The basic yarder, 40,000, so it's fairly affordable for starting out with. The length of cable is 500 meters, and it will pull/lift 1.5 tons. So that's a fair difference in weight between what the winch will pull and what the yarder will lift/pull. I don't know what the length of rope is. I haven't tried to max it out and measure it for the winch, but I know they will go a fair distance. Now, the second yarder is quite a bit bigger and quite a bit more expensive. It will pull double the weight of the first one, and it will go for 840 meters. Now, remember, these maps are 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers, so it goes for, well, 840 meters. It will pull it a fair distance over the map. But essentially, they both work the same way, and for demonstration purposes, and since it's the one you're probably going to start out with, I am going to use this one, and we will go from there. So I've got it attached to my tractor. I've got it all set up at the top of the hill. We're going to be going down this hill somewhere and finding a suitable tree. Now, yes, you can see that's quite a drop that you probably would not get regular forestry equipment. I'm going to turn on the help menu, and once you're set up and you've got it lowered to the ground, Press R to grab your yarder rope. And then we have to go down and we have to find a suitable tree. Yarders do not work going uphill. They only work going downhill. So if you get the wrong type of tree, let me find one that maybe, no, that one, something's blocking. It will tell you, it'll give you an error message and it'll say that the tree you're trying to attach to is too small. So let's attach it to this tree here, and we are now set up. And you can see the rope goes all the way up the hill. K and M move the carriage or the lifting part up and down the rope. So I'm going to cut this tree and we're going to pull it up the hill. All right, let me cut the tree and I'll be right back. All right, so I have my tree cut and I delimbed it. I have the yarder where we left it in place. Walk over to the tree and you will see a green line appear, and it will give you the option to attach the tree to the yarder. So let's go ahead and press B, and now we can lift and lower the tree. We probably want to lift it a little bit because the stump's right in the way. And how big is that tree? It is 1.1 tons, so it is just within the lifting range of this yarder. Now we can either move the carriage, again using K and M up and down the hill, or we can move the carriage to the yarder by pressing X. And we can follow it up the hill. And we'll just raise it a little bit to pull it up a little bit higher. And then we will lower it. I just have to check the keys. And hopefully when we detach it, it won't go flying down the hill. V detachment. And there we go. Now it's ready for our other piece of logging equipment to attach to. Whether it's, well, whatever piece of your logging equipment we decide to use. We could use a winch from here to pull it further. Or we could, at this point, come and grab it with our Komatsu or whatever tree cutter you have. Pull it back and then we could cut it into the appropriate lengths. Both yarders, once they're set up properly and attached to the tree down the hill as well as up the hill, will attach themselves either to another tree, if it's close by and strong enough, like this one did down here, or it will put a strong peg in the ground. It seems to want to attach to this tree here, but we don't need that. Anyway, that is how the yarder works. So I'm detached from that, and away I go. Next, we're going to look at winches. Let me get set up, and I will be right back. All right, I'm back, and I've got my winch all set up and attached to the Volvo. It will, well, I have a couple of logs over here that are ready to go, and it's a similar process. You press R to pull the winch rope, and you can attach to either of those logs. Press B, You can press R if you want to attach it to another log. Press B again. And R to attach to another tree. It's not just gonna... I kind of poop... No. Oh, it almost did it. Well, okay. Oh, it's because I've got super strength enabled by accident. So press B, and we've got to... Well, we can attach... I don't know. I've never tried how many we can attach to, but you can attach to multiple, again, as long as you don't exceed the weight limit. Now, from here... You can control your winch with the K&M, just like you do the yarder. And it will pull your logs. Am I in the way? Is that what it is? No, I started pressing the wrong key. That's wrong. And it will pull your logs into position. From there, again, they're out of the way. I can now, well, load them into a vehicle like this. If they were a full-size tree, I could take the Komatsu here and I could cut those into lengths, but I've already cut those into lengths. Now, there are a couple of other vehicles in the game that have winches attached to them. And these are base game pieces of equipment. The winches before were purely decorative. Giants have gone ahead and they have made the winches functional. Two pieces of equipment. Let's bring those up. In forestry equipment, there is the Prenoth Raptor 300. This is a pretty mean machine. It's used mainly, base game. It was pretty much only used for forestry mulching, and we can do another video a little bit later on forestry mulching, as there's quite a few different types of forestry mulchers. But it does have, and we'll go over and we'll take a look at it, it does have a winch attached to the back of it. It's not, I mean, the machine itself is pretty powerful. It will pull 8 tons, which is the size of the larger winch down here. Or weight, I should say, not size. This will pull 8.6. The Prenoth will pull 8. I'm guessing it's all based on the strength of the rope, because that tracked Prenoth should be able to pull pretty well in a forest. And I would probably want to use this in snow, because a wheeled tractor is going to have a harder time getting through the snow. The other vehicle that has a winch on it, and I'm not sure how well it's going to function or it won't function. Let's go back here to cars, is the John Deere Gator. Now it says it will pull 1.6 tons. However, the vehicle itself is only 1.1 tons. To me, physics says that a 1.6 ton tree is going to win over a 1.1 ton Gator. You know what? I have to try it out. I'll be right back. Alright, here we are with that little Gator. I had to go to the store and buy one. Let's get out. Our winch rope. B attached to tree. And again, K and M. Yep, just as I thought. It's kind of a weight issue. You can see the Gator pulled the tree a little bit, but for the most part, the tree pulled the Gator. Yeah, so I wouldn't recommend using that. That's kind of funny though. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. You now have a better understanding of when and where you can use winches versus yarders. Like I said, or I think one thing, I don't know if I mentioned it or not. I know it was in my script. But nothing says if you've got a tree down here with no obstructions in the way that you can't use a winch to pull it up. Just the yarder comes in even more handy when you want to actually lift it so it will get over obstacles like rocks, other trees, and so on. Alright, like I said, hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Take care, Jay.